All right, welcome to everyone. Okay, so let me do some quick housekeeping. If you're watching the replay, please go ahead and I'm doing this because I know people will watch the replay. Yeah, go ahead and like and subscribe. Like on Facebook, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, so that the next time we have a broadcast, you will get a notification. And then for those of us here, this promises to be a really exciting ride. I can't wait. Sales is my pet. I mean, I started from tech sales, right? So it's my pet subject. And Bumi and I go way back. We'll talk about it when we come back. Let me just roll the intro. Okay, so as usual, if you have a question or a comment, go ahead and just type it into the comment box on Facebook or YouTube. You have to allow them access to be able to show your question. It will show up here and we will answer. All right, so today's episode, I came up with the idea because, of course, I've been looking at, what are the lucrative careers, right? What are the promising careers where people, especially mid to senior level people, looking to make a switch to, right? That there's growth. And of course, tech and sales, double whammy. Sales, being able to sell is one skill, no matter the industry, that there will always be demand for. Is the heartbeat of any, making money, getting customers really is the heart and soul of business, isn't it? And then tech has been a growth industry for like 30 years. And for many more years, that we, as far as we can see, it will continue to be a growth industry. Last year alone, there were 70.8 million sales jobs posted on LinkedIn. So there's huge demand there, right? So it ticks all the boxes. And so I thought, let me talk to someone who is an expert in that area. Let me introduce, I'm proud to introduce to you Olubunmi Ogun. Bumi is the DGM, that's Deputy General Manager, responsible for Nigeria sales at MainOne Company, which is one of Nigeria's leading, since you are here, Nigeria's leading internet connectivity company. Bumi, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your career story.
Okay, and thank you very much, Ladi. I want to quickly correct you on internet service provider. MainOne is a telecommunication solutions provider of choice.
I stand corrected.
So, and what that simply just means is that we are able to provide technical solutions to suit. So not just internet, whatever technical solutions you require, we're able to come with a bespoke solution and deliver value to you, so that's it. So let me leave that. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olubunmi Ogun, and as Ladi had mentioned, I work with MainOne. So I'll take lose you. Hello?
Yes, now
Hello?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So my journey, I started my career in sales. I think it's over 20 years now, but my background is psychology. I read psychology in the university, and then I got my first job as a technical sales support role. What I'll say from the journey so far is that technical people and working in a tech environment is very exciting. There's always this new technology, and it's always really exciting because it kind of delivers different things to organizations and people, and helps people work more efficiently and things like that. So you find out even the tech environment has a very vibrant youth culture where people's minds are very open and also they're willing to even impact the knowledge on you. So even though I came in without any technical skills, I was able to talk to and socialize and meet with people within the organization who were very warm in impacting knowledge and telling you about the excitement of how this can do this for you and how this can solve this problem for the customers. So as a sales support specialist at that time, that's what it was called, it was easy for me to be able to understand the technologies without being an engineer, a full engineer. So once you learn the nuances and all the language around it, you are able to effectively piece it together and communicate what the value is to the customer. And that started my growth. I was able to deliver services. I would say when you're selling services, it's so different from selling equipment, because you can touch services. You can't touch services. It's in the air. It's like you're selling air. So how do you deliver air? You must tell them that this air is going to make you grow 10 feet taller or something that is of value to the customer. And
Yes,
that's the only
about
way you can
value.
get by. And you know what it does? It also creates an imagination in your head. You see, you have a mental picture of exactly when you are delivering your speech to the customer, this is what you are trying to achieve, and this is what this can do for you. It helps you personally because you can always come back with more creative and more. And but what is very key is that you must have true information, because technology can you do not want to project something that is not true. What happens is that immediately they lose trust in you, and you can't be an efficient or an effective salesperson if
If
your
people don't
customer does
trust
not
you.
trust you.
Yeah.
So trust is really key. Now I moved on to another industry, and I started from a VSAT background, and I moved into a
What's VSAT
microwave background.
for people who don't know?
So for people who don't know, VSAT is satellite dish. But this is satellite dish that delivers internet connectivity and also branch connectivity. So it's how you can connect a branch from Kaduna and you connect it to the head office. So there's a technology that can do that. Now, it's one of the oldest technologies. And so when I moved into the microwave environment, microwave delivers better, faster services. Unlike the VSAT. So I moved into another place of value whereby the technology I sold was old. It was efficient, but it was old. But now I've added speed or something more. So it was easy for me to transit customers.
Yeah.
And without knocking down the old place where I was working. It's also very important that you never talk down on if you've left some organization and you're transiting to another organization, there's no point knocking the organization down. You know why?
Yeah.
You sold that service to them, telling them where you were was the best. When you move, the only thing you can do to them is tell them that there is better technology, but if they're comfortable where they are, they can remain there until they're ready for the change. So it's a
Absolutely.
trust relationship. Yeah. So it's a trust relationship across board. And because the minute you move and you start saying, oh, that place I was working, they were bad, they were this, they were that, the man will say, oh, so you just sold something to me
Yeah.
just because you needed my money, and now you've moved somewhere else and you just want me to jump ship. That's not how it works. But you need to be able to let them know that. So some customers of mine that were in my old organization only moved when they also started understanding what the technology would do for them better. And I was the first point of call, even though there was competition. So that trust transcends a lot of things. It really helps
Yeah.
you in your growth. When you
Yeah.
move there, when you sell higher value, then I moved into, of course, the fiber technology. And moving into fiber technology tells you that this is like the speed of light. So this is even higher technology. So what happens is when you're moving as a career growth, for me, I would just say at each point in time, I was moving in telecoms into a more superior type of technology
Technology.
that was going to, and even that helps you understand that you are transcending into much more much higher realms, because you're not just moving from I was selling VSAT here and then I come here, I'm selling VSAT. You're even helping your own growth because you're moving with the trends. So it's just
Yes.
something that you always have to remember, that you need
Bear
to
in mind.
move with the times and the trend and say, okay, now I'm doing fiber, and so today we sell fiber and we do quite a lot of other things too that add value. What I would also add to that is that in everything, an organization that adds value to the customer is an organization that will survive, and they also must continuously what they call reinvent themselves, and that's what you find what my career history is. So personally reinventing self and working in an environment that they also challenge themselves and to move with the times. I mean, and here we are today,
Interesting,
doing
interesting movements, right? Okay, so the key
yes,
things I put out, right, is, well, I mean, you can have a tech sales career with no tech background to start with, right? There's you need to
definitely,
be able to learn quickly, and also
yes,
like unlearn too. So learn quickly. You need strong people skills, especially around building relationships with your
yes,
colleagues, with your customers, and then you need to
yes,
understand value, right?
valid, yes, valid.
Because everything is about value. What you're selling all the way down is about value.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not the least, an innovative, a um,
Evolving,
constantly improving, constantly evolving mindset. Okay,
yeah,
brilliant. So I'm going to ask you a related question. So we've looked at your career
okay.
story, right? I'm going to just ask you, so what, does a if we just step back, right, what does a career in tech sales look like? What are the like various kinds of roles that one could consider when coming into tech sales?
Okay, it's quite a wide range. We could start with, I would say they do have some sort of inbound sales, um, with the support of the marketing team, inbound
Mm-hmm,
sales, and you can start your career. I mean, that would be entry level, but then
mm-hmm,
you can go into a customer support role where you're the manager of a team
mm-hmm,
that caters to inbound sales. You can come in as a technical salesperson, and a
mm-hmm.
technical salesperson has the role to deliver solutions, but has the experience, the technical experience, but is able to deliver um, on the sales by selling the value to the customer.
Let me
Because the
take you
tech
back.
environment.
Let me take you
Okay.
back, please. So inbound sales generally is about so we're walking through the sales process now, right? So inbound
Yes.
sales is that first point, right, where the company has advertised from the website, you yourself
Yeah.
working with databases, you're generating leads. So when
Yes.
people you're checking, oh, who's interested or who might be interested in my service, right? So the inbound
Yes.
sales people, what they do is interact with these people who have shown interest to just check, what are their needs, can we meet them, are
Yes.
they ready to buy? So you kind of qualify those leads, right?
Yes.
And then take them through the process to where they buy, where they make the purchase, right? So that's
Yes. Yes.
inbound
Yes.
sales, right? And then
Yes.
you've also
Yeah.
touched on technical sales. That's open to people who maybe engineers or people who come from a technical background who now want to move
Yes.
into sales. So you start with
Yes.
like pre-sales support for the sales team. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Okay.
you can
So
come in
what
as
else?
pre-sales support. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Or
what
you can
other rules?
come in as an account manager or a sales
Mm-hmm,
representative. It means the same thing basically.
mm-hmm,
It's just the term that is used. So you come in as an account manager or a sales rep. Um, and so, of course, clearly you're responsible for sales. Your roles can then evolve into being either a hunter or a farmer. So I've just explained that is a hunter is a salesperson who is responsible for managing key accounts, not key accounts, but accounts, and generating extra
New
revenue
sales.
from those set accounts. And then you have the hunters are the ones who are responsible for hitting the ground running and bringing in new sales, going to customer sites and things like that. So it evolves into those two roles. So an account manager can either evolve to being a farmer or a hunter. Then you can also become, and then the farmers usually end up being key account managers, because you find out that a lot of times 20% of the business is what bringing in 80% of the sales, or generating 80% of the revenue.
Revenue.
So they automatically become key account managers for that 20%, and they try to ensure that the revenue does not they ensure that the account doesn't churn, and
We don't lose the account. Yeah.
you don't lose the account, and also you're responsible for generating new revenue from that, new sales from that account. But they are locked into set accounts, so they can't go everywhere. They can only manage the existing accounts that has been given to them. The hunters on the other side can
Uh-oh. The internet is acting up a bit. But while we wait for Bumi to come back in, right? So we've generally looked at, okay, so the sales roles, you're entering as a salesperson, or an account manager, you are either responsible for going out and just getting new business. Sometimes they organize it by industry, it can be by geographical markets, it can be, by various depending on how the organization is organized. And of course, we are talking from a business to business point of view here. The business to customer can be slightly different, but generally speaking, right, you can be responsible for constantly bringing in new sales on the one hand. On the other hand, you can be an account manager who's responsible for managing existing accounts. And that role evolves to key account management. And the responsibility here is, their account so well, their processes so well, their industry, their customers, so that you are working with them, step by step, discovering their needs and serving them, so they are buying more, right? You're increasing their share of wallet in your business. um and she remember the point she made about the 80-20 rule. 20% of your customers are the ones that tend to bring in 80% of your revenue, right? So those are considered key accounts, and it's a big skill, to be able to manage key accounts. What does that mean for you who is considering entering, especially if you do not have a tech sales background, but if you are, say, maybe HR manager or accountant, immediately, right, you can see that you have links, a history, relationships with people in that specific sector. Therefore, you can actually, so you understand their needs, right? And you're actually uniquely positioned to sell services and things into that niche. Or maybe you've been working in manufacturing or working in medical. Again, that history, that knowledge of the industry and the relationships you've built there translate well, right, into a sales role generally, but more specifically, if you are trying to sell tech, right, being able to understand the customer is one of the biggest skill sets you can have. So whether or not you have technical um
Hi.
background, welcome back, Bumi.
I was wondering, I think I had a small internet glitch on my own side too, so I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that. Don't
welcome back, no
don't
problem.
I'm not using MainOne internet again. So.
See disclaimer. See the disclaimer.
Just in
Okay, so
case.
when you went off, I just did a quick recap, right, of the various
Okay.
roles that you had covered. And I was just
Mm.
closing with the point of that even if you do not have a sales background, the fact that as a mid to senior level professional, you have
Yeah.
experience of one industry, right,
Yeah.
or one geographical market is a huge asset because you understand the customer. Therefore, it's easy for you to understand their needs and to be able to adapt, right,
Yes.
and sell tech
Yes.
to meet those
Self-test.
needs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, for instance, I'm in HR.
Mm-hmm.
I would be, if I wanted to start, although, okay, forget that I used to sell technology. I mean, if I was pure HR, right? If I wanted to start selling technology today, I would target a company who does solutions for HR people because I'm a HR person. I understand those needs, right? And so I can even immediately tell the guy, or I mean, the company, what those needs and how best to approach. I know the language, I know the culture, I know the needs. So it's a huge opportunity. Once you've had experience, we have a comment. Let me just check. Um, oh, okay. Oyinda was laughing at us at your
Yeah.
denial of that is not MainOne. So yes, I mean there are opportunities there. Okay,
Yeah.
so then let's talk about sales teams management as well. In terms of what types of roles are there, what skills do you need, who can be a sales team manager? Do you want to cover that quickly for us?
Okay. Um, who can be a sales team manager? Anybody who's been able to manage teams. You see, um, managing people, and it's like people skills, being a leader. So, the reality is that you don't even have to have a background as a salesperson to manage a team of salespeople. What you
Mm-hmm.
need to do is a structure and how you can also communicate the excitement of the technology that you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't project that into the team, then they would not be excited to go into the market. So there has to be quite a lot of passion. So even though you're not a core salesperson coming from, I used to sell so many things in my past life, even in your day-to-day engagement with people skills at
Mm-hmm.
home, you manage your homes, you manage maybe you manage people in your church, you manage people's emotions. I mean, I don't expect people to come when you say managing people's emotion, the person every day they are crying. Please, it's not working. It's not working for us. But you you have to be empathetic, and you're also very listening person, and also able to communicate effectively. But you find out that listening to your team brings out things that you never thought you would find things you find out new things that is applicable in your environment. So you can never be the harbinger of knowledge. You can never know it all. And younger people or younger teammates and team players contribute to your learning and your effective management of that team structure. So I mean, that's what really I would say. Now, if you're a salesperson, if you're a seasoned salesperson and you have a team of salespeople, already in your passion for what you do, it exudes and it projects into your team. And it's that passion that you that you project that it's kind of like a team spirit. It motivates, it generates people, it excites, it does wonders to the psyche of the team. Your encouragement, even in the face of a loss of a sale. See,
Mm-hmm.
because yes, we do, it's winning, 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 but there is loss, there's losing also. And
Mm-hmm.
how does the account manager manage his emotions when he loses something that would have counted for him? You need to be
Mm-hmm.
able to work that out with them to say, you know what were the learnings from this loss? What could we have done differently? And how do we apply this to another place? And guess what? The reality is that you can lose today and win a bigger deal from the same company tomorrow.
True.
So you do not let go and say, because I lost that deal, I'm not talking to them again in my life. My father and mother, I've cut relationships with them, those kind of things. But
Yes,
these are things.
indeed. You need resilience as a salesperson.
Yes,
That is one key soft skill, emotional
yes,
intelligence, resilience,
emotion
because
with
there
wisdom.
will be wins, but there will also be losses. And how do you,
Yes, there'll be losses.
keep going despite
How do you
that?
keep going? I mean, and there will be painful losses, I can tell you that, but you
I
do need to go back
know.
and keep going. There's some
You know
painful
that I
losses that
know.
even you. The days when you just say, look, and let this ground just open up and let me go. What is going on? You know, there are difficult years also. So you have difficult years. I'll tell you, pandemic year was a difficult year for a lot of
Hmm.
people. But guess
Hmm.
what? Technology was the order of the day.
Yes, it
So
grew
even
actually.
in difficult years, you find out that there is a spot for technology, and so
Hmm.
that's where the excitement of tech sales comes in, where the opportunities, everything, the market is open to say everybody is generating something new or some new software that people can look. We're doing this online meeting right now. Um, what created the boom in Zoom? What created the boom in doing virtual meetings?
Mm.
Technology driven, and every day somebody's coming out with a clearer version, a more efficient version. And so that's the excitement, because technology, it refreshes every time, and it's always. And so there are opportunities to grow career. There are a lot of opportunities. The sky is the limit. You have I was talking about careers, and of course, when you are going to senior management positions, you have become a senior manager. You can also become the GM. So you transcend many roles, and even from a senior manager perspective, because you have a wealth of sales experience, you can actually just go all the way to being a country manager. Country
Yeah.
manager is like a chief executive officer of a multinational, and because you already have those relationships, the lay of the land, they will trust you, because you have your clientele base, you have people you can talk to already. They will look at you and trust that you can deliver on the results that they're looking for, because you
For
already
your
have those
country, so
for your
global
country.
opportunities as
So it's
well.
a lot of
Right.
global opportunities there.
the,
And it's
the other
I will
thing I
also.
need to
Okay,
I want
okay,
to
sorry,
chip
go ahead.
in is that,
Yes,
just from a recruiting point of view now, right?
yes, yes,
It's always, people tend to want people with business commercial, they say business acumen, right?
yes,
In hiring CEOs, you can't
yes,
hire a CEO without, business acumen. A career, in sales is a very good stepping stone, right? Along that path. Yeah. Sorry,
yes.
I just want to take a comment. Let's respond to this comment. Oyindamola says,
Okay.
evolving from FMCG into tech sales, it has been difficult being patient in closing deals. It takes so long, right? Does it get easier with time? Thank you for that question, Oyindamola. What do you think, Bumi?
Definitely, it gets better with time. I mean, time, is a big factor. Um, but then, Ladi said something before, resilience too, because it's not always, you need to work it. If you don't work it, you will not be able to close it. And even the patient part of it is part of learning to be a salesperson, because
Mm-hmm.
there are deals that we've run for 2.5 years and only closed in the third year. There are deals that you have run for 4 years and it was on the fifth year. So if we had given up, what would have? And then these deals are not small deals. You see, it turns out that
Mm-hmm.
the bigger the size of the deal, the
The longer.
longer and the decision making processes. What I'll just advise is also understanding the business decision. See, most people always go after the budget holder or the budget, maybe the CFO has the budget to spend, or no. It's not that, it's the business decision, because they can have it in their budget, but the business has decided they are not ready to spend that money.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
need to find who the business decision maker is, to say, okay, let's go ahead and sell and buy. And if you can convince the business owner, the person who is going to, the decision maker, if you can convince them that it is critical for their operations within that year, then you can get a buy-in. So it's also good to understand where the business decision is being made and how you can influence the business decision, which is really key. Yeah,
absolutely. I just want to drive it back to, the difference between B2C sales, which is the FMCG model, right?
Yeah.
You're selling TomTom toothpaste. They tend to be lower ticket items. One person is making the decision. So, I can see an ad today for, what was that thing that I went back during Big Brother. I found that I was eating a lot of Indomie. And what's that other thing? Samvita. Because you just see the ad, you go to the supermarket, you pick it off the shelf, right? The dynamic is completely different in tech sales, especially because a lot of there's B2C in tech sales. People who are selling phones and the other smaller hardware, but
and
a lot of tech
dongles
sales and dongles, yes. But a lot of tech sales is B2B, business to business, right?
Yeah.
And when you're selling business to business, as Bumi has pointed out, you not only need to know the budget holder, you need to know the user department, you need to understand their procurement process, and you need to know the business decision maker. Remember, I don't know whether it was during this conversation you talked about being able to, as a key account manager, right, knowing everybody in that account, being able to map the different levels to a counterpart within your own team. So it's a long-term mindset, and you also need to be able to understand their buying cycle, right? You should be able to tell us, Bumi, that typically in this sort of organization, it takes 4 steps and 3 months, right, to close a deal. So it's a whole different dynamic. But yes, Oyinda, just make that shift, right, from immediate to understanding. It's a more complex buying process and it takes time, right? It takes time. Okay, I'll take one more comment. Okay, Angela says, I must strive to add value in everything I do. What that value naturally attracts clients, right? And she says, thank you. Yes, it's always, always, always about value, no matter the industry, right? It's about, understanding the need, being able to deliver matching value, right? Convincingly. Okay, so we've kind of answered this question, but I just want us to talk about it. What should you know, right? Before pursuing, a career in tech sales. And we've answered it in various ways, but let's just recap. Typically, we'll talk about soft skills later, right? But generally, like the hard skills. If you want to answer for three types of people, those with the tech background but no sales, those with no tech but with sales skills, those with no tech background and no tech skills. Bumi, how would you approach that answer? What should they know? What skills should they have?
Okay, so I'll talk about tech skills, no sales. So I would think that the first thing would be to go in as a technical salesperson. And there they work very closely with salespeople, so they can hone in the skills by being close to the salespeople and understanding the language and also communication, listening skills,
Client management.
That's client management, communication, effective communication. So it will be good to go in as technical sales first. Then if you're no tech,
but
sales, I would say you do need to do a lot of personal learning. So if you know how to sell, you need to understand the product you're selling, and you need to understand what creates value in that product and how it's going to go there. And by that, you start learning the technical terms behind the product that you're selling. Because if you don't understand it, you can't sell it. And also how it creates value to the customer.
You also need to know the customer.
And you need to know the customer. You need to know who's your target market. and who are the people who will benefit for the kind of product or service that you're trying to deliver to them. So I think a lot of personal learnings too. You need to start devoting your time to learning or talking to your technical people or frequently ask questions in the tech space, just understanding the basic technology that you understand what it can do for people. So I think that's that. And then the last one, if you have absolutely nothing,
No sales,
which
no tech.
which was where I'm coming from, because I didn't have tech and I didn't have sales, but what worked for me was the fact that generally, as a human being, you should have people skills. You should be able to work hard, and people see that you're tenacious and working hard at something. So if you join the sales, you are supportive and you are open to learning. And if you're open to learning, you will learn. You will talk, and then you also need to engage your technical team to having conversations of how can you help me understand what this does. And based on that, you start learning how then can I sell it in the market? How can I talk to my customers in the market? And also, you also need to start going into personal online trainings. I mean, LinkedIn is everywhere. You can just go, how do I become a super salesperson? They will tell you a lot of things. There's a lot of information on the internet these days. It's not like before that you had to go to a library. You have everything open to you and a lot of free advice, free stuff that you can tap into. And then even the technology that you are selling is not an island. Many, they've used it in the international space. It's just new to Nigeria, but doesn't mean that so you can read up on the technology, have small information webinars that you can listen to and say, okay. And then a lot of times what happens is that you have an eureka moment. Aha, so that's why this works, Oh, okay, I see. And also be very excited about what you want to project, because if you are not passionate, so I think it's passionate. If you are not passionate
Above all,
that
passion,
this thing,
actually.
passion. If you do not believe in the product that you are selling, you can never sell it. I hope you know.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that it is of value, personally, that you don't think what is this, you can't sell it. Because I mean, you won't be able to push it, and you won't be able to talk about it passionately. And that passion is what really delivers on how your customers hear you and understand that, oh, this thing might just be a great product. She's so enthused by it, and gushing, and and that and how it can make things better for the customer, for you, the customer. So they are willing and open to trying it out. Yes. So that's
a question I often ask people, is, you just come from, what problem do I want to solve?
Yes.
What problem, who is it that has this problem? What problem do I want to solve? Then you do a quick scan of what technology before you decide, oh, this is what I'm going to learn about, right? But in practical terms, right, it's understanding what customer segment you want to serve, what kind of tech, what area of tech. There's software sales, there's hardware sales, there's connectivity, there's e-learning. It's a wide range, right? So first of all, that's what problem do I want to solve and who do I want to help, helps you narrow who you want to focus on. Learn as much as you can about it. Then you begin to look at specific companies, who does what, right? What opportunities are there? Then before you start to say, what's my skill set? What skills can I acquire? Put it on your resume before you start to then reach out. There's also talking to people who are working in those spaces already. Very important. That's actually the fastest way, to come up to speed with what's happening there. So, I mean, if you were looking for a map, see, I sell it. So this information I just gave now, I sell it. Just giving it to you free of charge. That approach works. Yeah.
I was going to say, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Also have good bosses, please. So I'm going to put Ladi on the spot there, because you learn a lot from people, especially your team leads. As you're growing in your career, there's a lot that you absorb from the countenance and the personality of the person leading the team. So, Ladi, wink, wink. Thank you. Wink, wink.
Yeah, my people, my people, my sales people. Yeah. Okay. So now, let's wrap up. Right. Um, Two things. What challenges do people typically face very quickly when coming into sales? What are some of the challenges we can anticipate?
Not understanding the product. It is
Yeah.
the biggest challenge that you face coming into tech sales. You feel as if they just threw you into the wild, and you do not even understand the technology. If you don't understand the technology, it might take a bit of it might take some time for you to absorb it. And then learning can be tough when you're much older. You know, change is hard for people. So if you've always known something else and you come and they're thrown into the thick of things in tech sales, you really need to find a friend within the system that can give you a dummies approach to learning. You get, and
Yes.
there's no shame in this game. Oh, there's no shame. Do not act like you do not know anything, but you are a sponge that can absorb and ask the dumbest questions because they come with the best answers.
True. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
The other thing that's about learning is a very steep curve, is that technology can be so frustrating. Yeah, you've just finished learning something. It changes like every 18 months. Before I used to say 2 years. In fact, if I look at what I knew about learning technology, for instance, between 2019 and now, I think it has gone 3 generations. So I mean, it's a
Absolutely.
very rapid learning. You need to be able to learn it, unplug it, plug in the other one, literally, right? Your
Yeah.
learning game has to be up. And yes, dumb questions are really the best way to learn. I agree
Yeah.
with that. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but I was going to add something, one last thing.
yeah,
Sorry, I was going
yeah,
um to also learn technology, learn about complementing services. So when you have technology, so I'll give you an example. You're providing internet access, and then what is complementary? Internet access is everywhere. What else is the next stage? Then you start selling things like cloud services, because you're saying you're putting your resources in the cloud and it's driven by your access through the internet. So complementary services also help you not lose the underlying technology, but understanding the growth and the rapidity that you talked about that is changing.
yeah,
It doesn't just go into oblivion, but it just evolves. So
yes.
understanding the evolution and then creating complementary services around that would help.
So foresight, really honing foresight. Okay, I'll take one comment and then we'll wrap up. Angela says, "I'm learning so much. If I'm not passionate about what I'm selling, I can't succeed." That's, you can take it to the bank, Angela. You're absolutely
Yes,
right. Passion
yes,
what in everything, right? Every
yes,
aspect of life, passion is what rules the world. So you must be passionate about it. All right, so
mm.
when let's wrap up. This has been really interesting, right? I want us to close it. What 4 tips? I've had fun, actually. What 4 tips would you like to share with would be tech sales professionals? 4 things that you think they should know.
I think we kind of said it all over the interview, but I would say add value. Always add value. Personal value. Value is not about just selling this product that you're selling
Yeah,
or the service you're
yeah.
selling. It's also helping in other areas where they don't have to buy from you and you say, oh, I can advise you, this company has this that can do this for you. Always add value. Build trust, because that value, when you add value, it builds trust. Relationship, the trusting relationship between you and your customer or your client. Be passionate. Be passionate about everything that you do, and be and have integrity as your watchword. Integrity is owning up to mistakes and just generally being true to yourself and just being an honest person. Do have integrity. If this thing is not going to work for the customer, do not sell it because you want to make a sale. It's just wrong. You advise your customers to say, I don't think this will work for you. Why don't you try this? And this other company that I know may be selling it. But if you want to do this XYZ on this side, I can do this for you. But do not sell a lie. It's absolutely wrong. So my 4 things would be value, passion, trust, and integrity.
Integrity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bumi, thank you so much. I've had fun, right? We should and we will, put together something specifically for sales professionals in terms of job search. We'll talk about it and then I'll share it with our viewing public. I'd like to thank everyone who's joined us. We appreciate your joining. If you have any further questions for Bumi, please follow Bumi on LinkedIn, by the way. She's Olubunmi Ogun, Olubunmi Elizabeth Ogun. Ogun
Elizabeth.
on LinkedIn.
Lizzie.
And of course,
Lizzie.
and then, of course, follow me, Ladigia, also on LinkedIn. Thank you and see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
Bye.
We're going.